Yes, I'm Georgina. I live in Bonnie Loughborough in the UK. I was born with sporadic aniridia, and I now have my daughter who has followed on from me, and has got aniridia in both eyes and seems to be following similar pattern to how my aniridia went. Um, Today, mine is a little bit different. I'm talking about living with aniridia, but also how it has changed since the 80s, which is when I was born, and going through mainstream school, which it wasn't known for disabled kids to go through mainstream school when I went through. And it was extremely difficult due to rules and regulations. You got your EHCP money to the school, but it didn't quite go on the things that I required. So my specialized equipment at school was basically sitting next to somebody who had neatest handwriting ever that I could copy from. And also dealing with teachers who just didn't quite understand having aniridia. And my daughter now, who's going through mainstream school with aniridia, who needs size 64 font, so quite big. And yet, the whole money goes on her. She has a one-to-one throughout the whole entire day, the playground. She has an iPad. She has electronic magnifiers. They enlarge all the technical books. They teach her Braille. They do mobility work with her. They do quite a lot with her. She has quite an intensive education and everything. And I find it's amazing now, and I keep having to remind her that when I went through school, I didn't have all those little extras. So my mum wanted me to go through mainstream school because said I had sporadic aniridia, so nobody else in my family had a disability. And she basically didn't want to send me to a boarding school, which would have been 4 hours drive from where we lived. So she decided to put me through mainstream school in Scotland, where we lived at the time, because my dad was RAF. And it was that's thrown me a little bit. It was interesting. The Scottish schooling system is different to the English system, and I actually progressed quite well in the Scottish system. When I turned 12, we moved down to Crawley in West Sussex, which is where I did my GCSEs, and I just didn't get the help that I needed. At one point, I was in the middle of the hall doing an exam, and I got 50% extra time to do that exam, but they let everybody else leave around me. And another exam, they had an enlarged paper, so I actually had to go and enlarge my own paper to go back and sit it. So it was very tough. And while all that was going on, I started to get glaucoma. But it took 3 years for them to diagnose the glaucoma because the doctor that I saw at the time basically didn't know that as part of aniridia you could get glaucoma. And prior to moving to Crawley, we were under the RAF doctors, who unfortunately told my mum that she could only see either the RAF doctors or civil doctors. And when they said that, we were based in Germany. And in the long run, I basically now have 2 fake eyes, which is a standard joke because I can now colour coordinate my eyes to my outfits, which my daughter loves that fact. But now I'm very hot on getting her checked for glaucoma and everything. Really, if normal day-to-day life for me and my daughter is like anybody else. So I take her to school, she does a school day, I come home, I do crafts. I've got very good in adapting different ways that I do things, and that would mean that I don't need to pay for specialized equipment because we tend to find they're very expensive. The only thing that we've done during the lockdown is we've had our whole kitchen revamped, so that it's actually user friendly for me, so I can stand on one spot and reach everything that I need. We've got a talking microwave, which annoys my husband quite a lot, and we have a talking hob, which is very interesting, I have to say. But it's actually very useful because it tells me whether the pan's on the ring or not, which I've never had before. And then we've got like 1 cup kettle. So as long as we've got the right size cups, so I'm perfectly fine there. The only thing that we keep trying to sort out is how do you measure milk out to go into a coffee? I always overfill it when it comes to the milk side of things. But apart from that, our everyday life is absolutely normal, no different to anybody else's everyday life. I think my daughter's coming to say hello, because she knows I'm doing this talk. Yeah. The only thing we've noticed at the moment is my daughter likes to do a lot of sport, and that's becoming a little bit tricky for us to find places that allow her to do sports, but with people at the same sort of level that she is. I can't really think of anything else, so if anybody else has any questions that they want to ask us on how I do things, then...
Do you mind if I ask one question? Sorry, it's Georgina's husband here, just off camera.
It's really bad that my husband wants to ask a question.
Well, I'm just conscious with the crowd that's online. Given that you're now watching Sophie go through the same sort of things that you went through, do you have faith that things are in a better place? Obviously, when you were born, I don't think they actually fully understood the genes and the missing gene deletion that actually causes aniridia. So obviously a lot's changed in that sort of 40 years. Do you have greater faith that things will be better for her?
That's quite a good question, John. That makes sense. We've done the practice this. We actually, when I was born, they didn't know what the gene was. They didn't even know what aniridia was. It took them 18 months to diagnose aniridia because nobody else in my family had it. As with Sophie, it took 48 hours and it was 1 blood test, which was fantastic because they also got to check whether she had Wilms tumours, which I went through 5 years of being scanned constantly. And yeah, I think now I feel very confident that, we're working towards learning an awful lot more about aniridia. I have a lot of health issues that aren't fully just on the eyes, the rest of the body, and a lot of doctors have discussed with me whether they think it might be linked to the aniridia or not, but no research has gone into that side of things quite yet, which will be interesting if they do that. But I think medically working on the correct way to learning an awful lot more about aniridia and the complexes that it does throw out there.
Okie dokie. Apologies. I'm just looking through the chat. Looks like we had some internet connection issues, so apologies if anyone missed anything. And I believe there's been a call out for any questions. I can't see anyone with any questions at the moment, unless anyone wants to come off microphone.
Yeah, please do pitch in. If anyone wants to come up and ask questions, you're very welcome to do this. This area is supposed to be interactive in that way. I guess my question I'd like is, what sports are you getting involved in, and how are you finding them?
So say that again. You were very quiet.
Sorry, what sports is your daughter getting involved in, and how are you finding them?
What sports have we been involved in?
Yeah, both you and your daughter.
Well, my daughter does swimming on a one-to-one basis, and she probably enjoys that. She can now swim unaided. I find it a little bit scary because my mum taught me how to swim, and my way of finding the wall is to headbutt it. So eventually, after doing 50 lengths, it does get a bit sore. But they've managed to teach Sophie how to turn and everything, and work out what to do when the wall's coming close. She's currently trying out cricket. That's not with an actual, it's not blind cricket, it's done with a group that's done for the SEN difficulty. So there's lots of disabilities with it. And she probably enjoys that and finds that quite good, don't you? You like cricket. And she does a lot of dancing as well. She's got awards for doing dancing and everything. It was starting to get a little bit tricky with her being able to follow what they were doing. So she now does more drama, which is more dance, singing and acting in one. So, and she loves that. She's always doing something around the house to do with drama.
Okay, great. And maybe tell us a little bit more about this talking microwave.
Talking microwave.
He's got attitude problems, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, my husband says he's got attitude problems. The only good thing is it's got a volume on it, so you can turn the volume down when you don't want him to talk out to everybody. So if Tom wants to use him, you can turn the volume down, but he tends to forget. But yeah, he does sound like he's got a little bit of an attitude problem, because so when you open the door, it goes, door open, beware of contents. Sounds a little bit of mind the gap. But no, it's very good.
He seems quite resentful that you're getting food. I think that's what it sounds like to me. But yeah, we get that.
Do you use any other talking devices?
We've got the talking hob, which is a new thing. I've never used a talking hob before. It works on the new scheme of things where it's done by magnets.
It's an induction hob, yeah.
Yeah, an induction hob, and it's very good because it tells you when you're increasing the temperature. It tells you if the pan's on the ring or off the ring, and when it comes to when you turn it off, it tells you that it's cooling down, and it tells you when it's safe that you can actually touch it. But you can set timers, you can change the temperature from like gas marks free or degrees. So yeah, it is very good. The only downside to it is it only comes with 2 rings. So if you're the type of person that uses lots and lots of pans, then you would struggle.
Yeah. Would you like other devices that talk to you?
Say that again, sorry?
Is there anything you wish that existed that other devices that talk to you?
I was saying to my husband this morning, it would be nice if you had like an oven that would tell you if you were on like the actual fan oven, and the temperature, a bit like the talking hob. It would be nice if you could have that in an oven. And I suppose the same with a washing machine as well, because I have bump-ons on the washing machine, and everything gets washed at the same settings, whether it's meant to be washed at that setting or not. So sometimes some things can get ruined. Yeah.
And there's the whole argument about consistency with audio description, but I don't think we've got time to get into that.
Yeah, we use an awful lot of audio description, but my husband is hard of hearing, so sometimes we struggle to watch things because we can get the audio description or the subtitles, but you can't get them both together. It's like they don't think you can. Two people with two different disabilities would be together.
I kind of know what you mean by that. I often struggle with that, or I'm sitting close to the screen, for example, but my wife's on the other side of the room sitting on the sofa, so we're not sitting together either.
Yeah, I used to be like that when I was a teenager. My mum always used to say I was like a door, not a window. So I was always on a beanbag right in front of the TV, and my daughter does it now and everything. The only difference is we always know when she's grown. It depends how much more of the TV she takes up, basically, for my husband to be able to see it. But yeah.
Marvellous. Thank you. We need to move on, but I'm sure we'll have more time to chat after the coming sessions.
Yeah.